Hey, this is Jake the Snake Roberts, and you're listening to Wolfie D, live and in color.
Hey, this is Jimmy Street, host of the Live and in Color with Wolfie D podcast. Hear the life and times of professional wrestler Wolfie D, from his time in the territories with PG-13 to his time in WWE, ECW, WCW, TNA, and more. Nothing is off limits, and nothing will be held back. Thanks again for tuning in. Here he is, Wolfie D.
All right. Ho, ho, ho. It's the day after Christmas, everyone. I hope you've all recovered from your Christmas meals and all the food that I'm sure you ate. Hope everybody got what they wanted. Hope nobody was on the... Oh, there's a few people I hope to goodness would be on the naughty list, but I'm not names. What about you, Jimmy?
Man, I had a good one, brother. I just, again... You know, we talked about it on the last episode. It's always travel. But, you know, we got to see family, got to be with family we love, and got to, you know, got some cool gifts and gave some cool gifts. And, you know, just overall, just excited and happy that we're still here with everybody.
Man, eating leftovers good today?
Oh, you know it, brother. I mean, the thing is, I will say this. Some of the game from my family has fallen off since my grandmother's passing.
Of course, everyone's has.
Yeah. But, I mean, we'll go with that. But long story short, I'm glad to see everybody and happy that they're healthy and fun stuff like that, man. How about you? How was your Christmas, brother?
Well, it's good, man. You know, same as you. Just I personally, my blood, I don't have a lot of family except for my kids. So it's Michelle's family and things like that. And then, you know, saying Merry Christmas to some friends, that don't live near me any longer. You know, a lot of people move away. I move away. You know, right. It is. But, it was good, man. It's just time to recover now and go celebrate a new year. Hopefully next year brings bigger and better things for everyone.
Yes, exactly. I hope it's a better year for everybody. I hope inflation gets figured out. Yeah. We'll give that a woo for sure. Woo! But, you know, everybody keeps talking about, we're not a politics or really a news or political type show, but every once in a while things will pop up. And I really do hope the inflation thing goes down. The recession is they say there's going to be one, but, you know, some of that feels like a rich man's concern sometimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense, but sometimes recession and economy. You know.
When it comes to the politics, it's almost as if you can't do nothing but almost just laugh. It's so fucking comical that people can be so ignorant on both sides. And this is just crazy. Talking about like censorship and stuff. I was just trying to, we don't talk about political stuff like you said, but I was going to make a joke. I usually don't post anything about stuff like that unless it's something that I can make a joke of.
Right.
And I saw on Inside Edition, I guess it was last week, that before the president signed the Respect Gay Marriage, Interracial Marriage Bill, whatever that was called, that his wife, they show it on film, his wife hands him something that looks like a little pill, and he puts it in his mouth, and then you can see her mouth take this, and she hands it to him, and he starts chewing on it, and he sits down, and then he does his little speech and signs it and all that shit. And they're like, "What was it? What did you give him? Was it medication? Was it a lozenge? Was
a breath mint?"
Make the joke of, fuck no, we all know it was a Werther's original.
Exactly.
So anyway, I did a Google search, brother. It was just on the fucking TV, and I could find a picture of, if I type in monkey pooping on a whale, I guarantee you I could find something. But I could not find a picture of this handoff or even a mention of it. You tell me they don't censor shit.
Oh, they do. Dude, I was watching Joe Rogan. I listened to his podcast. It's about, other than Live and in Color with Wolfie D, that's the podcast I listen to. So they were talking about how TikTok, if we haven't gone to TikTok as far as a social media presence, and I don't know that we will, because I just feel like I'm too old for it. But being as may, a lot of people love TikTok and all about it. But dude, there is stuff in their agreement. You know, when you set up an app on your phone and you go through, I agree, terms and conditions. Dude, there's stuff on there. They know the keystrokes you make. So what it says is the data that they can access from your phone comes down to even the keystrokes you make. So they know what you're typing in, man. Yep. And I know TikTok's not the only one. I'm just pointing out them as an example. But you know they're all doing that, dude. And that's scary, bro, because they're going to be like, hey, coming soon, live and in color. That's all Jimmy types in.
This ain't going to be much help to anybody, but there is a documentary on Netflix that has to do with that and the algorithms and all that kind of stuff and how they all. But anyway, we don't want to get into all that kind of stuff. As far as all that mess goes, honestly, I'd like to hit them all with my finisher.
Yes, the finisher. And that's what we're talking about today. But before we get to top 10 finishers, this is our 75th episode, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, right?
Holding, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we're becoming retirement age, well into retirement age.
Podcast years.
Yeah, podcast years. So what's funny is, you know, once you hit that first year, after that, I think we've moved it to now to like numbers. So like the 75th is going to be a big one. 100th is going to be a big one. These kinds of things. So with that being said, the 75th episode, bro, I mean, I remember our first one. I mean, heck, I remember them all, but yeah, man, 75. That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
Give me hell yeah!
I can't believe it. But so this is the finish of the year. This is our final episode of 2022. Anyway, it's going to be 2023 soon. So with that being said, I thought of this idea of maybe top 10 greatest finishers. And you were cool with it. And, you know, what a better way to finish with the finishers.
The finish.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another one that we have fun with these, and the list is just, they're hard to make for me.
Yes.
And then, first of all, to narrow it down to 10 and think of everything, but then put them in an order of sorts is even harder, I think. So.
It is. It definitely is, because once you get to is like, oh, does this one mean more to the, oh man, I really like that. Anyway, I think I went with my gut on these, but
this would be interesting, I think. I'm hoping that yours will be a lot different than mine.
I think it will. Because just the way things are, I think we'll probably have some similars, but at the same time, you know, when it goes like this. One thing else before we go into top 10 finishers, we have a new segment at the end that we are going to unveil. And we actually, you know, I wanted to give my buddy a shout out. Tracy Byrd is my friend. I've known him since I was in college back in, you know, late teens, early 20s. He's a great musician. He's in a band called Blitz Kid. They're pretty legendary in the horror punk scene. Also, he has a great band called A Gathering of None. If you haven't heard them, you listen to it. But you've all heard him with the Name Game song. You've heard him every week with the Current Affairs song. He is our in-house writer. So if Wolfie D is Johnny Carson and I am Ed McMahon, then he is the leader of the band, Doc Severinsen. Or he can be Paul and Dave and We're Dave or whatever. But anyway, he's our musical guy. The only other song on the show is the one Wolfie D wrote and performed on. So, you know, with that being said, I wanted to give Tracy a shout out and thank him for always supplying us with great tunes, man. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. We appreciate you, brother.
Definitely. And thank you, Tracy. But with that being said, I say we get to some of these finishers. Let's finish running my mouth.
Yeah, let's do that first.
And go to the top 10 greatest finishers.
I set you up with the biggest fucking softball in the whole world with a segue, and then you went on about 75 fucking episodes.
You're right. I did. But dude, it's 75.
I tossed that motherfucker.
Sid Vicious is like, dude, you totally missed that. I would have killed that. I'm a softball god.
I'll kill you!
Anyway, yeah. Too bad he never worked that into a gimmick, you know? But anyway.
Him and Lawler.
Yeah. That was something about Memphis, right? Everybody loves sports there, playing extra sports. Yeah.
And we do the softball game, the heels versus the baby faces every year at the Liberty Bowl field there, whatever that is. I forgot what it was called, but that was fun. And we'd get into a big brawl on the field to end the game and stuff. So that's fun.
That's awesome, dude. That's incredible. I wonder if any of that has been videotaped.
I'm sure they used to do it every year. I think I was on like the last one that they ever did, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
But anyway.
All right. Well, let's get to the finishers here.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Getting engaged is a moment worth cherishing. A one-of-a-kind ring that you design at Blue Nile can help your love sparkle. Just choose your diamond and setting. When you've found the one, you'll get it delivered right to your door. Finding the right engagement ring can be nerve-wracking. At Blue Nile, you'll have the expert guidance needed and a diamond guarantee that ensures you're getting the highest quality at the best price. Cherish all of life's moments and save up to 30% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Hey folks, to get your official Live It in Color with Wolfie D merchandise, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/live Wolfie D. Check it out.
If you're listening to Live and in Color with Wolfie D on Apple Podcast and like what you're hearing, go ahead and leave a 5-star rating. And while you're at it, write a review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us what you'd like to hear in the future. It's very important to us and always appreciated. Thanks again.
All right, we are back. Now it's time to get to the finishers that Jimmy and I have selected for our list. As usual, hard list to do. We've already been through that. So let's just get this ball rolling here. I go first, as usual. And my number 10 is a tie. And this is going to probably get a funny reaction, I think. But it's true, okay?
Okay.
Reason these two moves are tied is because they're kind of the same thing. One is a babyface finish and one is a heel finish. But I guarantee you, these could probably even go higher on this list if you're talking the amount of wins that this certain move has. Okay?
Yeah.
The tied for number 10 are the schoolboy and the foreign object.
Oh, yeah, man. I like that.
Many a men have beaten many a man.
Yes. And that's a legit finisher. That actually finishes matches for sure.
Yes,
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That two moves alone have probably beaten more people than any two moves in wrestling.
Yeah. That's
that's saying a lot, but I think I hold to that. I would almost like to know for sure now, but anyway.
That might be number one. That's great because, that's it, and you're thinking of it from an actual wrestler. So, when you put that into perspective of how many times have you pulled away a victory with a schoolboy or the foreign object? I mean, you guys were kind of known for that, so I will say that those are very much top 10 finishers, and one may be coming up. But anyway, that's a good one. I like that. So number 10 for me, kind of the opposite. This was a very celebrated finisher. I love the look of it. I've always enjoyed the out of nowhereness of it. Most people know it now as the RKO, but I'm going to give DDP some props here and give it to the Diamond Cutter.
Diamond Cutter.
I've always loved a cutter, man, a stunner, a cutter, whatever, but something that just, it looks so final, if somebody hits it correctly,
An awkward move to take, sort of.
I'm sure.
Some people don't make it look that great. And that's the thing. You got to have a finish that, people can make look good. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think
I agree.
Actually, I want to be able to do this, but man, when it comes to finishers, you got to also think, okay, if my finish is a lift move, can I pick everybody up and do this to him?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So pick carefully.
Well, for sure. And then also giving it, you got to be timing. Your timing's got to be good, but also taking it, you're doing a belly bump, Anyway,
I took it second, I think. But I think I came jumping at him and took the Diamond Cutter from him on WCW once.
Nice.
I know I did, but I can't remember if it was off the ropes or if I dove off the second or something. I can't remember.
Might be, yeah. That's a good. I know you did. It's on that Monday night where you guys get almost spray painted or whatever. But anyway, Whole other story.
Whole other story.
Yeah. Well, what's your number 9, boss?
My number 9. All right. Now, this one is, nobody does this anymore that I'm aware of. And when I say this, it's going to give it away. It was a family thing. The Von Erich claw. And the reason I say that one, because it would be hard, I think, for anybody to get that move. I'm sure you could. You got the mandible claw. You got all that stuff. But it was just the Von Erich claw was the thing. And people got with it. And it was the simplest of simple, fucking put your fingers in their belly and squeeze real hard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, how many people would probably just giggle like you're being tickled or something?
Yeah.
That would tickle me, I think.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is that's a familial thing. That's a second generation thing. Yeah. They took over, and now it's the name of their movie that's coming out about them. Yeah. The Iron Claw, the claw. I mean, whether it's on the head, whether it's on the stomach, whether it's in the throat, I mean, whatever. A claw is only as good as it's being sold, So obviously any move is, if you get right up from a DDT, Jake Roberts never had anything. You know what I'm saying? But if you sell it.
I'll tell you this, man, I saw Frank Morrell do this, and I thought it was one of the coolest things. And this was, like mid-90s, they had him do something where I can't remember who he wrestled, referee versus referee. It might have been Mark Curtis or something like that. Yeah. And I know he's not the first one to do this, but I'm using this as an example because I saw it with my own 2 eyes and I liked it. And so Curtis or whoever it was like in the corner. And, Frank, when he wrestled, he did the claw when he used the spoiler and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or the French angel, whatever. So he's got a glove on his right hand. He goes to grab him, and they move out the corner. Well, he locks on to the top turnbuckle and then tries to pull his hand away, but like he can't. His claw is latched on, right?
Right.
And he reaches over to the glove and does like a little wiggle shake, like a switch button or something, and it unlocks the fucking claw and he pulls his hand off. That's cool.
That is cool. That is cool. That's an extra level of selling,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Let's think about this too. Let's say I hadn't told you that story and I hadn't seen it. It never happened.
Right.
And we saw one of these dudes, these new kids do something like that on fucking AEW. Would we sit on it?
Oh, man. Yeah, probably. Isn't that sad? It's sad, actually. If you think about it, it's funny, but it's sad because does that mean we're just jaded, bro?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Sometimes I wonder, if today's kids, we're just jaded. I'm just shut up. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go with my number 9. And my number 9, man, this is also one of those moves that I have seen this guy do it on everybody from 200-pounder to a 500-pounder, 400-pounder. The finisher was also a pin, and the move was just beautiful, and it's the perfect plex. And I love that move. I've always popped for it. I'm thinking I maybe put it a little too low.
I'm pretty sure I took that move in TNA. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, so it shows you how strong he was. Mm-hmm. But dude, that move, man, I don't know. It just always looked like it was just perfect. I hated when people popped out of it,
It did. You said it. It was perfect.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, Kurt Hennig. Yeah. I mean, it's so good that Kurt Hennig, it just fit him, And what was that, Northern Lights suplex? Is that what it's called? I think.
No, that's called a cradle suplex.
Cradle suplex. Sorry. Yeah.
Northern Lights is where you tuck your head under their underarm and take them over kind of like belly to belly, but they land on their back and you land in a bridge.
Right. Okay. That's it. My bad. Yeah.
Anyway. So we are on to number 8, correct?
Yes, sir.
Or we want to, did you do number 9?
I did number 9. Now it's 8. For you.
Yeah. All right. So my number 8 is one of my unfortunately dead homies. And he did this move over and over. I have never and would never do this move because I see, not that I saw the results, but I probably knew the results of doing this move too much. But it's the Alabama Jam, Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
he made it look so fucking good. I've never seen anybody do it as good as him. I don't care.
Yeah.
The way he did it, the angle in which he landed, and just he was on point every time.
Yeah.
No, he almost missed and kind of put his heel on the guy's chest. Nah, he was bent knee across your throat area, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it was perfectly placed. I'm sure it eventually had its effects on his health, you know.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I'm saying. You're hit, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Hulk Hogan talks about how he did the atomic leg drop, and he's like, I had the largest arms in wrestling. Why didn't I do a sleeper hold or something? Instead, because I've had a million surgeries on his back and spine and hip and everything. Yeah. And, that had to be something that affected Bobby, too, coming off the top rope with it. Yeah. I will say this, Sam Shaw, I've told this story before, but Sam Shaw, the current Dexter Lumis on Monday Night Raw, he gave me my first hard way.
Oh, yeah.
Crimson came off and elbow drop on me, and then he came off with the Alabama Jam, and it busted my lip. Now, you could have probably said, okay, here's what you should have done versus whatever. Maybe I should have turned my head, or maybe it was misplaced or whatever. But anyway, he busted my lip up pretty good, but I was proud of it. I spit that blood in Mike Porter's ring. That was my last night with him, so he got a little DNA from me there. So, but let's not take away from the whole move here. Alabama Jam is a great move. Love it. Absolutely. Beautiful move. So my number 8 is, this one has been bastardized to where it's now a high spot, and it's not even comparative to anything that it should be. But I always loved this move. It definitely got bastardized, but it also got modified through his career from when he started doing it to when he was ending. And that's HBK's Sweet Chin Music.
Yeah.
I always loved the look of it, the impact of it. He's one of those guys that could slap the leg and it would be perfect. It didn't look, he's like a Lawler kind of thing where he could make that sound and do that impact, and it looks so final. And that was something that he could do as a smaller guy that could equalize him against those giants in the WWF. And I don't know, man, I just thought, it's just screwed. It's like everybody, I've seen people do like 5 in the ring at one time, It's
just totally wore that move out, but it really ain't just that move. It's a lot of stuff like that where you see repetitive moves, or each guy keeps giving the other guy the same thing and blah, 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 blah. But the way Sean did it, and not everybody was doing it. I remember Chris Adams.
Yep.
I can't think of really anybody else in my mind that in those days was doing that move. But yeah, like you said, it's almost just like a front kick now.
Yeah. It's just a spot now.
Or a boot out of the corner is pretty much a super kick out of the corner now.
It's true. It's true. The greatest moment I ever saw was in the back where he was just super kicking everybody, and they were in the back, and I think this was kind of in their jokey DX era, and he and Hunter, and he's walking around and he keeps kicking people in the face, and then all of a sudden there's one guy that's walking by and he's like a backstage guy with a bunch of paper, and Sean kicks him and papers go everywhere. It's a hilarious spot. But anyway,
I'm not 100% positive, but I really think that we did something where me and Jamie had to feed in for Farouk and take the Sweet Chin Music. I do believe I've taken it once.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did it connect?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't 100% remember, but I do remember. I feel like I remember Sean saying to me, "And then you guys feed in for the zoo." I just remember. I feel like I remember him telling me that. I don't remember actually doing it or whatever.
Okay.
The spots in my brain, whatever.
Yeah, understand.
Holes of my brain.
Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. Well, speaking of brain, what is your number 7?
My number 7. We actually talked about this a little bit last week, very briefly. But my number 7 is not a Hurricanrana, not a victory roll, which was what I said. That's kind of what Ricky does. That's called a victory roll.
Victory roll, yeah.
And it's the Frankensteiner.
Oh, yeah.
Steiner. Most of mine on here are specific to people, not just the move.
Right, exactly. This guy's version of this is the best, that kind of thing. Yeah. So you're exactly right. That's a great move. To see a guy like him go up in that position to be there at first, Yeah. And then
was one of those moves. When I saw him do that for the first time on Memphis TV, because we always recorded everything, VCR. I remember watching that back a number of times. Like, how the fuck did he do that? That's incredible,
Yeah.
As a child, as a young teenager, possibly right there. I don't remember what year that was. Probably 88, 89, something like that. 90. I don't know.
Right. Right.
But anyway, man, and that was if I remembered anything about the show, quite frankly, it was that fucking move.
Totally.
And I was like, damn, I remember telling people about it. You see what that motherfucker did?
Yeah, and he did it. And dude, I'm telling you, that guy, he's definitely got a spot in the legendary status for sure. And just the moves he would come up for the Steiner line, that wasn't anything major. It was just a named clothesline, but also, all the other moves that he kind of did. But that Frankensteiner, that's the one. And and we've talked about it, like you said, I still think it should be called a Frankensteiner out of respect. But
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So my number 7 is totally opposite, but I feel like it's just as legendary. And honestly, when you get it, I don't know how you work it. I don't know how you work it without hurting. And this is Ric Flair's figure 4. Now, the figure 4, I don't think beat a lot of people. Because if he did, it was because he pinned him with it, which is always confusing to me when you actually did the move. How was he pinning? But anyway, I did like it when they would pass out from the pain and then they would end up getting pinned or they would tap out or they would be knocked, whatever. But yeah, man, the figure 4, it's a legendary move.
Figure 4 on my friends. I think we we did. That totally. Shit fucking hurt, man, when we did it. You know what I'm saying? But
totally.
And then for you to say you don't know how you work it, it's like, honestly, that move hurts like a motherfucker. There can be 2 reasons why it's going to hurt when it goes on. Length of legs can be either one's too short, one's too long, makes it weird. And then also the bulkiness of someone's legs can make it also tighter in there.
Oh, man.
But, as a kid, we had to really crank that shit down with our little skinny legs. That shit hurt, buddy.
Yeah.
And then funny to me is that, the guys, and now I know why, would always sell the left leg when I was always thinking, man, that hurts my other leg more than it does my left leg.
Exactly. It was like they thought visually that was the leg. But yeah, to me, because, Flair would even work on that leg to work him down for the figure 4.
Yeah, because, they're working the left side. And that probably it had to be told before anyone ever caught on to that. And it still baffles me to this day that that's one thing, as much as I watched and rewound and slow motion and everything, I never caught on to the everything's on the left side thing. I can't believe it's right there.
It's improved, man. But I remember putting my brother in it, and the thing we would always fake that he was turning me over, and he was going to tap me out, and that just hurts both men. That doesn't relieve the pain of the guy taking it. It's the guy giving it. They're both in pain at that point. So anyway, figure 4 is my move on number 7. So, all right, what's your number 6?
Not even a big fan of this guy. The reason it's kind of what I talked about earlier. Can I do this move to everybody?
Yeah.
And this is a lift move.
Okay.
And this motherfucker did it to the Big Show.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about Goldberg's jackhammer.
Yeah, man.
Not many people kicked out of it that I know of. And I'm sorry, that's just impressive as fuck to be able to do that move and be able to still do it to a guy as big as the Big Show. And there was others, I can't think of all of them, that you thought, he ain't gonna be able to do him. You know? And
totally. Yeah.
So that's mine.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's always an impressive move. And I wonder if Lawler would have hated that move. Because, you said that he hated when you would hold him up too long and stuff. But
stop doing it.
But to me, that's always impressive that you can line it up and somebody can basically balance themselves, and then you add 500 pounds right there. That just shows you how strong Goldberg was. And I've never been a big fan of Goldberg. I respect the man because he got some money and got his name out there. But when it comes down to it, the spear to me is just ridiculous because because it was like, yeah, Goldberg's believable because he was a football player. But then you had Edge and guys like that. But not talking about the spear here. We're talking about the jackhammer. And yes, that is a great finisher for sure. So,
yeah.
So my number 6, and we're going to take a break after this. And you know, honestly, I think this will lead us into a break. So is it the Tilt-A-Whirl Splash that I liked more?
Yeah, the Tilt-A-Whirl Splash.
Or was it the hubcap that I liked more? Either way, we're going to go with PG-13's finisher, either the Tilt-A-Whirl Splash or the hubcap. So tell me about the Tilt-A-Whirl Splash, man. What's up with that?
Just trying to think of something new, man. And I just said, hey, let's try this move. And we never usually went in the ring beforehand or anything. I said, let me see if I can do this to you. Can you arch if I get you to right here to where, because the momentum has to be a certain way. The you know, I always talk about trajectory and physics and shit with wrestling. So it's like his spin motion, I almost have to stop it in a way. Sometimes I would get him up high enough where I could kind of stop him and slam him down.
Yeah.
But it just depended on the way he went. Sometimes it would just be there, and I just have to stop him from still rotating up and get him to go down.
Okay.
So making that look right. I don't know, but anyway, I think I came up with that. I never seen anybody do it.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to see some teams using it now, man, because that's such a cool move, you know.
Yeah. Just give me props.
Yeah, give him props.
And it's funny too. The hubcap was originally a move. We didn't just hit people with it. We would actually do a move with it where I would hold the person up like a sort of like a bear hug, and Jamie would be on the second rope, and I'd be facing him, and their back would be to him. He'd come off, hit him in the back of the head, and then I'd drop him down like a flapjack. So that was originally, no shit, you can look on TV and see it, that we called that the hip-hop drop.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Who else called their move the hip-hop drop?
I think I remember one team that maybe had some ties with you guys and then went to the big...
It's all good. But, that's mine. Or that's yours. That was mine, but it was yours. So I did say that right.
You did say it right. That was yours, but it was also my pick. So yeah, with number 6 there, PG-13 hubcap and the Tilt-A-Whirl Splash. Either one, you just pick it, but I love them both. And the hip hop drop is definitely PG-13.
So hubcap, definitely a player in our game as far as like I said, when Jerry Jarrett saw the hubcap and all this, people were like, what the fuck? These motherfuckers got a hubcap with them, So the hubcap was different, man.
It was.
It wasn't a kendo stick. It wasn't a fucking, just the regular shit,
It fit your gimmick so well.
Yeah.
Because y'all would steal a hubcap. You know what I mean? Your gimmick is you would steal a hubcap off a car. And maybe more. And that was just a classic, movies would have that, steal a hubcap deal. And I think it was like one of the vacation movies where they drive into St. Louis or somewhere and they lose all their wheels and everything. But anyway, long story short. Yeah, so that's number 6. I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. It's almost New Year. Give us a break, guys. We're going to be right back. We're going to listen to a few commercials. Thank them for being with us for this entire year, especially, Benji Bowie, you're the best, brother. So hang in there with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Let's take a quick time out and get a word from one of my dope-ass sponsors, and we'll be right back with more Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
Support for Live and in Color with Wolfie D is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped recently launched the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, the Performance Package. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code WOLFIE at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 8 million balls.
Hey folks, this is Wolfie D here, and if you are looking to buy or sell a home in Tennessee or Southern Kentucky, you're going to want to call my buddy, the rock star realtor, Benji Bowie. And you say, Wolfie, how do I get in touch with this rock star? Well, you can call him directly at 615-390-8216. You can go to his website, bowiehomes.com. That's B-U-I-E homes.com. Or you can email him at benbowie34@gmail.com. When you need a home, you need the Rockstar Realtor.
Benji is a member of Exit Realty's Garden Gate team in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
All right, we are back with the top 10 greatest finishers, Wolfie D. And, as tradition goes, you go first on number 10 through 6, and I'll go first on this one. Sorry, I'm making it more difficult. So this move is super cool. I thought it was so innovative. I don't know that this guy created this move, and I don't even know that his version is the best, but he was the first person I remember seeing do it. And this is Billy Kidman's shooting star press. Bro, I've always loved that move. It kind of looks like when he's doing it, the floor comes out from under him and he chooses to flip a different way than a normal person. It was so acrobatic. Now I've seen people, I think, like Ricochet and what's his name, Matt Seidel, I think have done it better. Evan Bourne, whatever you want to call him. But Billy Kidman was the first person I saw do it. And have you ever even done that move, Wolfie? Have you ever tried it?
Fuck no. Not a chance. I know my limits.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen you, dude. You're like, we're kayfabing your age here. No, I'm just kidding. You're in your late 40s, and I saw you doing flips in the pool. So I feel like it's not out of the realm of possibility for you to do this. But
that wasn't going to be my game. Because to be honest with you, on something like that, I'd be more afraid that I was going to hurt the other person than myself, probably, because I felt like stuff like that. I don't think my aim would be good enough to do some shit like that. I don't know where I'm going to fucking land when I start flipping.
Yeah. Have you seen these new guys now in the Performance Center when they're practicing? I think I just saw Logan Paul doing some stuff, and they have these like big old foam pads or whatever in the ring, and they land on them like it's a human, and they kind of can practice their moves safely. Okay, let's just say you're practicing your moves in the original days. How would you do your moves?
Just with somebody else, and you work on the nobody being under you at first just to get the movement down or whatever, but then you'd have to put somebody in there, see if you could do it safely.
Sure.
I've never seen anybody have dummies or anything back then.
I was going to say, I can't imagine it,
I mean, it would have been, I guess. Work.
Yeah, it would have been great, I'm sure, but they just didn't have them around. But anyway, yeah. So that was my number 5. I think it's a beautiful move. I've always been a fan of it. And, I don't know enough about it. Somebody can put in the notes on the social media pages there at Live Wolfie D. If Kidman didn't create it, who did and where did it come from? So, but yeah.
All right. My number 5. The move alone is a classic moment in wrestling history. It was something that is etched in my brain. Just one of those moments as a child that I was just like, holy shit. and it's the Jimmy Superfly Snuka and the Superfly Splash, man. Then the moment is off the cage, but the move itself off the top rope was still one of the coolest moves. He got air. He landed hard. It didn't look like he was taking care of him, which I'm not sure how much he was. and all the like, even the Samoans and stuff, all of them could do fucking incredible splashes. But I think, Jimmy Superfly is the Superfly and the grandfather.
Oh, he is definitely. Yeah, he deserves all the props in the world. And yes, there is nothing more. I mean, dude, him climbing that, giving him the love you signs from his hands, and there's nothing like it. And to me, anyone after that has been kind of ripping him off, and that's good. Yeah, it's a tribute to him because
if it's a good move, it's going to get stolen. You know that.
Definitely. And Superfly, I mean, that's just the man. He used to climb trees with his feet and get coconuts I've read this in his book. He used to climb trees and he would get the like fresh coconuts for his neighbors, and they would pay him some money for as many coconuts as he could get, and he would bring them down. And brother's climbing the tree, and we're thinking like linemen will climb with the pegs on the. He's not doing it. He's with his feet and his hands.
Yeah.
And that gave him strength out of this world. And then he doesn't have a fear of heights, which to me is a whole other thing.
And you know what? This is just one of those things that I got to say or I'll forget it, Jimmy. You know me.
Go ahead.
Thinking the other day, his LJN figure, I hated it when I got it. Yeah. And because of the pose, come on.
Yeah.
Weak.
Weak.
You could ask a third grader what the pose should be if they knew who he was, and it would be arms out, love you sign.
Yes.
But at any rate, he was skinny. I mean, it did not look like him at all. And I think Sin Bodhi should do a custom remake of Jimmy Snuka with the wild hair, all in his face and all jacked like he was. I think that's a I don't know. Sin might have already done one of those, but I know that unfortunately some jack off broke in Sin's house. Not too many. I guess it's been a month or so now. Broke in and stole all of his figures and not all the equipment, but a lot of it, man. Like we're talking, I don't want to give his personal business out there, but a very high number of dollars of stuff. And
that piece of shit can go to hell. And here's the thing.
Anybody wants to support Sin, y'all go find him on his Instagram and all that, and help him make some of that money back. He makes great stuff. We've had him on here. But anyway, back to what we were talking about, the Superfly dive, man.
Yeah. And that's an incredible move. And I something that, somebody like Kidman may have taken, he's like, I got to do more than that because he did that so beautifully, So anyway, well, my number 4 is Dean Malenko and the Texas Cloverleaf. And
nice move.
Yeah, I love that move. Some people are like, no, I like the sharpshooter. There's something about like figure 4 in his leg and then turning it over and holding him like that. And I don't know. I'm sure that move, just like a Boston Crab, can hurt like hell, especially if you're blowed up. Yeah. But at the same time, I always liked putting my buddy Chris, who's now gone. He was the drummer in my band, and he and I would always wrestle around with each other and act like idiots at parties and stuff. And it would always end up that he and I would either get in a punch each other in the face contest as hard as we could, just punch each other in the face. Yeah, that really brought the girls in. Or I would end up having him in the Texas Cloverleaf, and it would just be like, yeah, idiots.
Man, but kind of like the reason I liked it was almost like a sharpshooter with your hands, because he didn't use no legs, right? It was all hands, wasn't it? Arms.
Right. Yeah. He would turn him over. And it was all tied up with his hands. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was the cool part, is that most of it, the way the other moves like that looked were a lot of leg, and he was not using his legs other than to support himself, but he had you tied up with his hands. So that was pretty cool. Anybody do a move? This is not on my list, but just a move that I always liked and used a little bit in my younger days was when Muda would put them on their belly, figure 4 their legs, then tie his leg in, back bridge, and grab the chin.
Yeah.
That was a cool move.
That was a
call that. I don't think I've ever known what you call that, but
super cool move, man. Very cool. And just so Muta, like just so total great Muta, man. He's just
Muta.
Yeah, he was so underrated. So even though he's greatly rated, highly rated, but he's still underrated. But yeah, man. So your number 4, Wolfie D, what you got?
My 4 is so basic, man. It's so basic, so fucking over, but not basic enough to where it wasn't, to me, like, believable. It did get to a point where it was like a competition to see who could sell it the silliest, I think. But I think you know where I'm going with this would be the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, the Stone Cold Stunner. Come on, man. I mean,
everybody knows the Stone Cold Stunner, and it's a move that you could kind of just do fucking around with people. I've seen people, non-wrestling people, you see it on Facebook, on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. People do the stunner when they're imitating wrestling. It's pretty, not that they're really good at it, but it's pretty simple for the common folk to imitate.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's funny is my number 3, I'll go ahead and say it, is the Stone Cold Stunner. So, yeah, it's
the person gets to do the move and follow it up with a double Byrd to your friend's face.
Give me that hell yeah!
Definitely.
The DX suck it everybody was doing,
Yeah.
So you get to stunner your friend and shoot him birds. That's cool.
Yeah.
Move.
It is a cool move, and the kick in the gut and the stun, and I mean, to me, it was always certain people who took it. Like Vince McMahon took it so horribly. Vince was not a performer, and then there's somebody like The Rock who would kind of oversell it. Like
that's what I'm saying.
He would pop up like a big old. I never really loved that, but
there's oversell.
Yeah, there's oversell, but it fit The Rock,
So. There though.
Yeah. He was there making the millions, and I was not. So we'll go with that. But again, beautiful move. I love it. I love also the out of nowhereness of it sometimes. Yeah. But I also just love when it's kind of like Stone Cold's. It's almost like a middle finger in its own self, Yeah. He's like, here you go, son. Well, boom, here you go.
What?
Stack of dimes. There you go. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that was my number 3. I know it's your number 4, but why don't you go ahead and give us your number 3, Wolfie D?
My number 3 from Wolfie D is the DDT, coming from Jake the Snake.
Oh, yeah, brother. Yeah. I tell you, it's a good move. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I mean,
they're all kicking out. It just makes mine look better.
I know. He's got such a positive perspective on that because his move is also one of those that has been incredibly bastardized. Yeah. It just does not. But again, they don't get up for mine. And it's a great point. And, I remember Steve Kern telling us about how he was going to be the Jake the Snake of WCW initially, and he bought the animal. They even had him coming in with a snake, and I guess because he would come from Skinner to being, they were like, okay, you're going to be our Jake the Snake. But what's funny is I also remember that WCW also took the snake from Jake. So Jake went to WCW for a little bit, and I don't even remember him having the snake there. It was a weird scenario. But anyway, a lot of people think of Jake as the DDT, and he is the DDT man. But there were some other good guys that gave it, Raven and Arn Anderson, but nobody hit it like Jake, in my opinion.
No, plus he was the originator of that move that I'm aware of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Look good as hell.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my number 2 here. And my number 2 is something you've taken, something you've given, something you've jumped off, something you've held up. And it's always a great looking move. I've always loved it. It's one of the double team moves that, makes a tag team so good. It's the Doomsday Device.
What a rush!
And, it's always funny to see how certain people give it, it's done one way properly. And I think even the Dudleys do it and all that, but the way you do it, you know what I'm talking about. The clothesline off the top rope is pretty simple, but sometimes the guy would fall back with the guy. Sometimes it would just be a push off and flip.
I did not like the fall back. That was just whoever was taking it was like, hell no, I ain't taking that. You fall back with me. Yeah,
you're falling back with me. I agree. The proper way
was no job, guys. I can tell you that. But it was just, I feel like Tully and Arn probably didn't take it. I don't remember, but anyway, yeah. It's
definitely
to be. Here we go with doing the same ones though. That's my number 2.
Yeah.
So that's coming from next. Is the Doomsday Device, and
well.
Took it, give it, all that, love it. That's my guys. Of course, I'm putting them in there.
Totally. Now, you were on Ahmed Johnson's back about it one time too, right?
Yeah, when they did the double Doomsday Device on me and Jamie. And Jamie got lucky and was on Animal shoulders. And Ahmed doesn't really know how to do that. And he didn't push me, and so he threw it back. Man. Yeah, I kind of take a nasty. I don't get rotated all the way over and kind of land head and shoulder a little bit.
Yeah. And it's almost like he's holding on to your legs. You're just having to deal with it. Not really, but you know what I mean.
I'm getting off of you.
Seriously.
No.
Can you imagine falling back on somebody and them not letting you go and you're like tied up in the tree of woe, but it's a human that you're
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrible. But man.
Do that. Somebody will do that. Watch. They'll do that, and then the person will be super strong, man, and pull them back up, and the dude will go up and give them another one.
Yes, that's going to end up happening eventually. Either that or he'll do like a reverse Frankensteiner, and the guy will give the guy, you know what I mean? But anyway.
Oh, I'm sure that one's already happened.
Yeah. What about... So you've taken it, obviously, but do you prefer to be the base or do you prefer to be the clothesline if you're giving it?
I'll be doing the clothesline.
Yeah. Because the base is just kind of boring, right? I mean, it's a great move. It just fit them so well. And it's one of the bright spots of their WWF era, whereas I don't remember seeing it as much in the early Jim Crockett days, but it's definitely something they developed as a double team maneuver, and I love it. Apparently, now there's word that one night at a strip club, Vince McMahon used to go party with all the guys.
That's true.
And I've heard that they gave that to him in a strip club, and then he took the heart attack from the Heart Foundation, which... I mean, what would you all do? Would you lay up on that? Would you not hit him as hard, or what do you think?
I don't know. I'd probably Hawk Down probably did. I think that I think Hogan actually caught him.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, so I guess we're at number 1 here.
Yeah.
And your number 1, so we've got our number 3s, our number 2s were both the Doomsday Device, which is, awesome. Our number 1 and my number 1 is actually your number 3. So Jake Roberts with the DDT. Again, I don't want to beat a dead horse on this. I want to get to your number 1, but honestly, to me, this is the ultimate finisher. I love the move because it's so final, and especially when Jake Roberts would do it. And, there's nothing much more to be said on that unless you have something else you want to add, but...
No. And I was going to say this a few minutes ago, but most of these ones in our top, 4, maybe 5, these are moves you can do to anybody, no matter how they are. Most of these moves can be done to a person of any size. And like with the DDT, I would say, can you see Jake giving it to the Big Show or to Andre? I don't know if those, it might have happened with Andre. I don't know. It might not be as devastating.
Right.
But my number 1 would be.
Okay.
My number 1 is Randy Savage's elbow drop.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He laid that shit in. You could tell. I mean, he laid it. And that's a move you could do to anybody. You could do it if a man's as big as a car. It doesn't matter. He's jumping way up in the air and slamming the fuck down on you. Always love that move.
And it was like he hit it with the elbow drop was like with a pocket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it was like he hit the neck so perfectly. Maybe it was the chest, but either way, that elbow drop, he did it perfectly. Now that was technically on my honorable mentions, which I'll go ahead and give those real quick. Al Perez's whirly bird, we know that one. We love that one. Yeah. Rock and Roll Express, the double drop kick. Bobby's Alabama Jam. I know you already put that on your list. But yeah, the Macho Man's elbow drop is my unofficial 1B. And I didn't get it on my list, but I love that move. It's so pretty. And he could do it. He did it all of his career, you know? Yeah. That's a good move. If you can do that even well into your almost 50, you know, as long as you're healthy.
That's another classic one that you talk to, like, say wrestling fans that are our age and stuff, you know, man, me and my brother, I used to give him the Macho Man elbow off the dress on the couch and shit. You know what I'm saying? You always hear that story somewhere. It's
yes.
It's an iconic move.
Yeah, it is an iconic move, and it's something you can do to everyone, just like I did to my brother or he did to me. Yeah. I will say this. My cousin did DDT me or my brother on a rocker. We hit something in the creek or something, and we won the tag belt because he felt bad because he made us bleed. But I can't remember if it was me or my brother. But anyway, Jared, you tell us about that one in the notes there. But anyway, long story short, the elbow drop is one of the prettiest moves too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And Macho Man coming in with that.
He had some hang time.
Within madness. Oh, yeah. Coming in.
Let's think about a couple of moves. Why didn't you say, just for being devil's advocate, how come you didn't put Hogan's leg drop? How come you didn't put the people's elbow? How come
I hate the people's elbow?
I do too. But you know, it was over. It was Hogan's leg drop. Everybody knew about Hogan's leg drop, the big boot.
Yeah. That one made sense, but it just wasn't. I mean, why didn't we do Dusty's elbow, you know? Or, you know.
Because the most exciting, like Dusty was more exciting before the finish.
Sure.
You know, not to say that they didn't pop on the finish, but it wasn't because of the move, I don't think. And he used a sleeper too, so the elbow was kind of thrown.
Right. Weaver lock. That's a Weaver lock, baby. I did the Weaver lock.
and sprinkle in the bionic elbow in the match. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this. So now let's just speak on finishes as a whole, not finishers, but finishes as a whole. Mm-hmm. Do you think finishes are better today than they were back in the day? Like, you know, how we watched that match with Piper and Valentine, and it was kind of a dud finish, you know? Right. It was a great match, but a dud finish where it was like, well, that was kind of shitty. But nowadays, you know, go ahead.
I think that back in the day, it feels like they hated beating anyone clean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there was what you might call a dud finish, because they had to figure out the word for that is, we got to figure out a way to get out of this somehow without hurting anybody. That's what they always say. Now, as far as finishers go, though, when they were the finish, it fucking meant something. Those moves, I'll say the moves, and most of the ones we mentioned were older things, because now, first of all, the bar's been raised so high that all I know is everybody can do a lot of flips in their finish. Around, or something like that, right?
Right.
And people there's more a likelihood these days that someone has to use their finisher 3 times to beat their opponent.
So a lot of false finishes and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's your difference.
Yeah, I agree. So the bar has gone so high but you know what's so funny is they could easily bring that bar back down. You know? Yeah, I do think they could. If they really put in some stuff like the believability of it, I do think they can bring that bar back down. But the thing is they're in this mindset of they don't want to.
Well, but they're because here's what would happen. You start trying to bring the bar down, then people are going to say, oh, their product has just become so lazy.
It's true.
They're lazy in the ring, and it's lazy booking. It's lazy writing when they have no clue what they're saying, but they've heard these words, and you know.
Yeah, I see your point there. I feel like you know, right now, if somebody in AEW were to just have one devastating finisher and it was just a done finisher, I almost feel like they believe enough in that product that they would accept it. But I could be wrong. I don't know. Well, who knows anymore with this shit? It might be, man.
I remember Tom Pritchard, and this has been at least 10 years ago. Probably, no, this is back when we was working them in the 90s when they were Heavenly Bodies. I just remember him telling me, he said, "Man, them days are gone." Or it might have not been 90s. It might have been even a little later than that, because in my head, I see him with short hair. So it was after that. But anyway, he said, "Wolfie, them days are gone, and they ain't coming back."
Man. So, all right. Well, speaking of finishers, Wolfie D, we are going to start to change things up a little bit here. You know, we've had current affairs as a consistent thing. And we've talked about this on previous episodes, but what we're going to do is sometimes the current affairs just aren't good enough. And we're not really in this to be current affairs. You know, we're more about the olden days, and sometimes we'll talk about current stuff only if it really makes sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to initiate a new segment for the end. Now, this won't take over current affairs. We'll still do some current affairs here and there, but we don't really want to keep it tied down to just one thing. So with this being said, one of our biggest episodes of all time is Ask Wolfie D Anything. So what we're going to do is, to keep things interesting, we're going to insert Ask Wolfie D Anything randomly in shows, and all you got to do is look for when I am promoting shows, I'm going to ask for some questions coming up. So we'll say, hey, on the next episode, we're going to do Ask Wolfie, give us your best question. That being said, we've had some questions from just unsolicited questions from listeners, and what we're going to do is we're going to give a new segment here called Ask Wolfie D Anything, and it'll be all questions from you awesome listeners out there. So with that being said, we got a brand new song from Tracy. Y'all check it out right now. We'll be right back. DJ, hit the music. And we are back with Ask Wolfie D Anything on this awesome Top 10 Greatest Finishers episode. Like I said, our 75th episode, man. Feels like it's just flown by. But with that being said, our great listener, Bob Daniels, always active on social media with us, he's got the first question today. And he said this: there is a story about you and Shawn Michaels at the hotel. So can we get that story?
Yeah. Hey, Bob, and thanks for the question. Yeah. So I hung out with, Road Dogg and them sometimes too. And, it was not like this was a first meeting or something. But anyway, and you've heard me talk about, Shawn, and he was good to me afterwards and everything. And this was before that.
Yeah.
And he didn't, I thought we got along and everything. But Shawn's kind of, I guess he thought I was trying to be prima donna or something. I was being disrespectful to him, I guess. But so we're in the hotel room, me, Road Dogg, Aldo Montoya, just incredible, and Shawn. And Shawn's in the bathroom of the room. I'm kind of hanging out on the wall. I think the other two sitting on the bed or something like that. And Shawn came in, he's brushing his hair, kind of look like a fucking chick combing his hair in there and shit, you know what I mean? And so and everybody had a little buzz, before we went out, a little pre-gaming or whatever. And so he comes out and he sits on the bed. I guess that wasn't occupied, but he sits on the bed and he looks into the mirror that's usually right there in front of one of the beds. And he was checking his hair and shit. And then he kind of he did the motion of I think he was at the moment I didn't think this, but now I'm pretty sure this is what it was. He was trying to crack his upper back. So bringing his arms back. So it kind of looked like he was also flexing in the mirror. And so I said, look at you fucking flexing in the mirror. So he fucking got pissed. Oh, what the fuck, man? You think you're trying to be fucking funny, man? But he started just browbeating the fuck out of me, man, like going off.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, okay. And then he keeps on and it's getting more aggressive. Like he's not getting on my face. He walks past me and gets up and goes back in the bathroom, looking in the mirror, combing his hair and browbeat me continuously. So I'm fucking pissed at this point. And I look at Road Dogg and he's just shaking his head going with big eyes going, don't. And so it was in my mind to just fucking cracking, but I didn't. And we out afterwards, but that was it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. Interesting scenario that you would have beat the champion's ass, and then that would have been rough. Yeah, but well, you obviously he doesn't hate you. He was good to you after that. He gave you some bookings at his promotion down TCW down in Texas. So
got me paid after we got let go. So
yeah. So he was looking out for you, and I mean, I've heard that he had his moments, but who doesn't, right? So. Right. Well, anyway, Bob, that's a good question from you now. So Bob also has another question. Now, this one's a little more fantasy driven. Okay, so 2 out of 3 falls, count anywhere match, Wolfie D versus Slash. Who's going to win that one?
Ooh, let's see. Wolfie D had a career of, I wonder what years which Wolfie D, what year Wolfie D, what year Slash, you know what I'm saying?
Your pick. Man, he didn't say, so you pick.
I think it would be a great match. First of all, they would complement each other well in the ring.
They'd be hanging from the rafters too, right?
Yeah, they would. It'd be almost as if they knew what each other were thinking before they did it. That type of match.
Yes,
and I think that it'd be a lot of heat on Wolfie D. Be a lot of heat. Color.
Right.
Slash would juice him up. I actually probably double color there because they both bled a lot.
Yeah, so they did.
Double color brawl. But 2 out of 3 matches. Okay, so now we're taking this almost into a Mexico situation here.
Sure.
We got out of 3 falls. So I guess Wolfie D goes over the first fall. Slash goes over the second fall. Third fall, man. There would have to be some sort of interference from JC Ice and Father James Mitchell.
Yeah.
I think Mitchell would go to help Slash with the win. Jamie would not be at ringside with me. He would come from the back before Mitchell could get to me, spin him around. Boom, big pop. Chase him to the back. Referee's out of the ring. Hubcap Slash. The referee gets back in the ring for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be, right?
Man. You sounded like you were. I had you, didn't I?
You did, man. I want to buy that pay-per-view.
You sounded like Cheech and Chong at the beginning when they smoked that big dog turd. You say, "Yeah."
I kind of feel like I am.
That sounds groovy, dude.
I love it, actually. So that was Bob again asking a stunner of a question, man. So, Bob is definitely one of our more active listeners. So we definitely appreciate you, Bob. As far as
I booked that on the fly, man. That was.
Yeah, I like that. So thank you for the question once again. Now, this one is at Cause Plan from Instagram. So this one's a little different. So recently on the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, I had my son on there and we booked a whole bunch of wrestlers as a superhero. And what's funny is this question came in a couple months ago and we just haven't done an Ask Wolfie anything, but this one's kind of tied into that. So if you could be cast as any superhero ever or supervillain, who would you prefer it or would you like it to be? So let's just say you're getting the old peacemaker gimmick or whatever, and you could be any super villain or superhero or whatever. Who would you want it to be?
Very tough on the spot question. Now, are we talking like I could have makeup and all that kind of stuff?
Sure, you could do anything.
Look like me, right?
No, I mean, you could do anything. I mean, you could really, you could be Drax. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, like Batista totally, he looks like him, but he's not him, but, right. Or you could be just you. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. No, that's not cool. Let me think here for a second. As far as, like their powers and stuff. Man, as a kid, I always wanted to be fucking Spider-Man, but I'm not that agile. But I you know, most kids wanted to fly, but me kind of being scared of heights, I don't think I ever really wanted to fly. But I did want to have spider webs so I could swing on them.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a thing. And now they have a toy that's kind of like that, man. You can shoot this cheese whiz out of it or something. But,
I don't think it's cheese whiz, but that's a good idea, actually.
It's whatever. Silly string, is that what it is?
Cheese man.
Cheese whiz man.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. I don't see people how they turn it up and like spray it in their mouth.
Trust me, I got a funny story about that.
If I was going to be a superhero, I really have to think of my favorites again. I would want to be probably a superhero. And I'm not sure what this dude is, but I always think he's kind of cool looking. I like Deathstroke. What's the other one that's on Arrow?
Oh, that's Deathstroke. Deadshot? Are you thinking of?
No, I get them mixed up. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's
Deathshot is the one that Will Smith played.
Correct. Deathstroke is the one that
Deathstroke is the one on Arrow, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the one you.
I like him. Him. He's cool.
Yeah, I can see you as
he had the wrestling style hood. That's what I remember liking about him as a kid.
Yeah, I could definitely see you as that. That's a good idea. You know, I almost could see you being like Sabretooth, though, too, you know?
I don't know what that one looks like.
That's Wolverine's villain. It's his brother, and he's kind of like a lion, kind of. But I mean, you know, also, you know, Slash or Cerebus are kind of their own villain. You know, they're both kind of comic book.
They need to have, because I was going to say, I like the dude, I don't know if you've ever seen Lobo.
Yeah.
They need to actually cast Jason Momoa for him.
They do. I think that's going to happen, honestly.
I mean, Aquaman, come on.
I think that's going to happen. I think they're kind of hitting a reboot on everything, and I think that's about to happen because, you know, The Rock he brought in that Henry Cavill guy, Superman, in the Black Adam, and then recently Henry Cavill just announced that he's no longer Superman because James Gunn's going younger. You know, I could see you as Lobo, man.
Well, I don't know.
Paint yourself blue and have a big. I mean, dude, that's like Kiss as a superhero. Lobo
and the wolf. Well, you know what Lobo is in Spanish,
right? Yeah. So, well, that one is at Cosplaying from Instagram, and that is actually the final question of Ask Wolfie D Anything. So, yes, we did say that. Current affairs is not going anywhere. It's just going to be pieced around. It's not going to have to be a regular thing. But also, if y'all like this more, let us know about it. What y'all think? If you want to do more Ask Wolfie stuff, we can do Ask Wolfie. If you want a little more current, y'all let us know. We just like to get your feedback on this. But we definitely appreciate y'all listeners giving us these questions. Just keep an eye on the social medias. I'll be asking these Ask Wolfie D questions. I'll be asking for some Ask Wolfie questions.
Get it the fuck out.
Yes, it is. Anyway, just keep an eye on this. Yeah, easy for me to say. Just keep an eye on the socials and it'll be there. Y'all, thank you so much. Happy New Year. Take us out, Wolfie D.
Said it all with a whole mouthful. You said it. Yes, thanks, y'all. Hope y'all had a great Christmas and have a happy New Year. And catch us again next week, live and in color with Wolfie D.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Jimmy Street and the Plastic Chic, Jared, are the undisputed tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise. This team does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
That's right, it's the Talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah!
Hey,
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you're interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
If you're a fan of rock music, I'd really appreciate it if you took a moment to check out my podcast. It's called the Decibel Geek Podcast. We've been doing it for about 10 years now. We talk about Kiss. We talk about Ozzy. We talk about Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses and Metallica. We talk about all the legends from the 60s and on, up to brand new bands that you should be hearing about today that you're not going to hear on the radio. It's Decibel Geek. Wherever you find your podcasts, you'll find us there. If you love rock and roll, I can almost guarantee you're going to love my show.
So that was another great episode. Hey, Wolfie, tell them where they can find you on social media.
Jimmy, they can find me in the club, bottle full of bub. I'm just kidding. They can find me on Facebook. My personal page is Warren Wolf, WOLFE. I'm on Instagram at WarrenWolf13.
You can always find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Live Wolfie D. Here's the thing. Wolfie always has offers for his autographed photos. He has a selection of some awesome photos from throughout his career that he will autograph and personalize any way that you want him to. Just contact him either directly at his personal Facebook page or through any one of our other pages, and we'll make sure you get in contact directly with Wolfie. Get those photos, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, I've got some good stuff on there, to help with the podcast.
Folks, if you can't get out to a show to meet Wolfie D, there's nothing like that, especially for the fans of PG-13 and Wolfie D. And before we go, you can always find me, your host, Jimmy Street, at jamesrockstreet on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
And hey, Jimmy, before we go real quick, I just want to add in there, from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate, first of all, the work you've done for this podcast. You have worked your butt off. Secondly, the people that are liking the page. Beyond that, even more, is the people that are listening, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and remember, guys, the podcast drops a new episode every Monday at noon, and our past episodes are streaming now on demand on all major podcast formats. Thanks again.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
I got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap for your dome.
He got a cap
for your dome.
And here we go. The original white boy that came out sagging, not bragging, don't be hating, cause I'm spitting the truth. Still livin' in color. From Rush your mother, utilize a hubcap unlike any other. Back in the day, I was NOD, and I was P to the G, plus the 1 and the 3. In case you forgot, they call me Wolfie D. Been cloned and copied so many times, tired of suckers taking credit for what is mine. You know who you are, without me name dropping. Wrestling's first white boy coming out hip-hop. Been doing it like this since 92. Laid low for a while and you thought I was through. Listen real close to these rhymes that I've injected. This shit's so sick it makes your ears get infected. Mad skills, no faking, there is no one great. Cause I'm bringing more folks than Obi-Wan or Vader. Not here to play games, so you better beware. You don't like me, so what? I really don't care. Like time I keep ticking and I can't be stopped. You sucker step to the side unless you wanna get dropped. With my finish, I'll straight knock you out. Please allow me to tell you what it's all about. I'm gonna wind it up, then I'm driving it home. It's Wolfie D, baby. I got a cap for your dome. I got a cap for your dome.
We got a cap for your dome. We got a cap for your dome.
This has been a James Rock Street production.